Hello, many thanks for joining the Thursday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. Today on the program, PDP threatens to ask members of the House of Representatives over Gbajabiamila's victory as Borno Assembly re-elect Abdulkarim Lawal as Speaker for the third term. National Industrial Court orders Governor Bello to pay judiciary 1.5 billion naira. And later on the show, Zamfara governor secures 2 mobile police squadrons in war against banditry. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju, Janet Mba Afolabi. So if you're ready, let this hangout start now. Politics, they say, strives on give and take. But when you are on the losing side, you take it with equanimity and fight for another day. Now, the Opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP, is playing the bad losers card over the outcome of Tuesday's election of leadership of the National Assembly, still smarting from the loss of its choice for the Speaker of the House of Representatives. The PDP is threatening to sanction recalcitrant members for going against the party's wish. It has instructed PDP lawmakers to back Abdullahi Wase for the position of the Speaker, but he lost to Femi Gbajabiamila. Sorry, beg your pardon, that is Bago, Honorable Bago. The choice of the governing APC. Meanwhile, Borno State decided to embrace continuity in governance when members of the State House of Assembly re-elected Abdulkarim Lawal as Speaker. Lawal is now the Speaker for the third time, having been in the saddle since 2011. Julie, let's look at the mathematics for the House of Representatives. It wasn't something that I saw coming. And, you know, when we're defining a landslide, the House of Rep is very close to a landslide. When you look at out of 360 lawmakers, and Bago went home with, I think, 78 or 76, or thereabouts, and Femi Gbajabiamila scored 280-something. And when you look at the margin and everything, that means a night before, just before the day of election, that's on the 10th of June, the PDP actually took a position while they backed Alain Dume, you know, for the position of the Senate presidency. They now went further to back Honorable Bago for the House of Representatives. A lot of people felt that that would have changed the equation automatically. But it seems the Gbajabiamila camp, they've done their homework to the extent that PDP lawmakers did not listen to the directive of the party.
Yeah, they not only refused to listen to their party, they supported Gbajabiamila and publicly proclaimed that support 2 days before the election, 3 days before the election, and on the morning of the election, they signed PDP members under the aegis of the PDP 9th Assembly Progressives. They call themselves Progressives in the 9th Assembly, led by Wole Oke. And
that's from the Southwest.
Yes, Wole Oke and the Honorable Legon. They signed more than 70 of them. That the group was dominated by PDP and some ABGA and other small party members. Parties. And they signed that they were going to give Gbajabiamila their votes. They published their proclamation, their intention in this day, in Daily Trust, and some other prominent national newspapers. So they made it clear where they were going. That's why when you read on social media that, PDP promised 70-some, what's his name, Bago votes, and they didn't give him, it's a lie. They never promised Bago votes. It is the party that came together at the last minute. And I said that, look, at the time that you were having that last-minute meeting, these guys had made up their minds. In fact, and they stayed away from the meeting called by their own party. I challenge any PDP person to tell me that their people, their senators and lawmakers generally showed up. They stayed away. While they were having that meeting, their own members, PDP members, were busy running around campaigning for Gbaja. And
what could have led to that?
Because it took a long while to decide, and they had made up their minds. They had committed themselves. And you had a Gbaja who promised them 30% chairmanship and vice chairmanship positions. In fact, he still reaffirmed it yesterday.
Even his campaign manager even said 60 seats.
No, he by himself, he reaffirmed it to those people. That one is a campaign manager. The man who will do it told them, just even yesterday again, to reassure them that, look, I didn't make a promise that I will not fulfill. So, having published their intention in the newspapers, you should expect that they will vote along that line. And it's significant because the moment about 70 of them from the PDP put hand to paper, as they say it in football, the moment they signed to play for Gbajabiamila's football team, the moment they signed the contract to play for Gbajabiamila's football team, it becomes very clear that the PDP will be split. Because the rest of the PDP members, some of them trying to play the ethnic card, they thought that the party would give block votes to Bago. But a lot of these guys had been meeting with Gbajabiamila and they felt that he was the better candidate. You see, when you bring someone like Bago, you compare their credentials. I mean, it's like comparing night and day. Let's tell ourselves the truth. If you want to go to battle with somebody who has the capacity to win. Because Delegiwa said the one who wins is the one who thinks he can win. So I'm not even sure that even Bago was sure that he could win. So in that situation, what did you expect them to do? For a party to come at the last minute and say, go and vote for so-so person. When they are committed themselves, they are already imagining the committee positions that they will get. And you know, even these elections come with Balamo and the rest. You and I know now, because, although they will not admit to you. So people who have conscience, once they commit to you that they will do this for you, they will vote for you, you can't come at the last minute and say because they belong to your party, then this is the thing to do. If you want to do that, start early. Let them know that this is where you are going. So they made up their minds and they decided to vote for Gbajabiamila at the end of the day. So you can't then now be threatening that you want to punish them. Even in the APC, I will advise against punishing anyone just for the fact that they contested an election. I don't think it's right.
Why do you think PDP did not show up in that contest? From the record, they have 111 members in that house. Yes, it's not majority. You can't compare it to 200 and something strength of the People's All Progressive Congress. But at the end of the day, the winner went, the runner-up went home with 70-something votes.
They couldn't have come up with their own candidates because they didn't have the numbers. And when they knew that for APC it was a win-win because the APC has the majority, they didn't make up their minds on time on the endorsements, on which candidate to support. So there were conflicting signals. And when they went...
Too quiet about it.
Yeah, maybe they were doing it in a subtle, in a very covert manner. You know, sometimes things are not good to be done so covertly because some people who are operating on an overt level will just go ahead and sign like the ones that signed for Gbajabiamila. So the conflicting signals caused the confusion. So they went to this election divided. And when you go to war divided, the chances are that you are not likely to win. And they are now threatening. It is expected. They are not happy. They are angry because they lost the election. The wounds of the defeat is still aching and bleeding for some of them. So to now threaten to ask those who supported Gbajabiamila is still at the realm of threats. Until we see it manifest physically, then we know that they meant what they are saying. So until then, we'll just be watching. But for Gbaja too, it was not really an easy, it was not an easy road because of all they brought up all manners of allegations against him, but he coasted home despite all the odds.
Okay, let me quickly take this breather. When we come back, Martin Oloja will join us. Thank you for joining us. This is Journalist Hangout, and Martin Oloja is joining us. You were missing in action yesterday.
Yeah. It was a telephone issue. I lost my telephone, so they couldn't get to me.
Okay, what do you make of the emergence of Gbajabiamila and the People's Democratic Party saying that they are going to sanction their members that did not go according to their directive?
Yes, well, it is still within the realm of what I normally discuss here, because we say it a lot at our editorial board meeting. The majesty of democracy. You know, I know these people very well. They're just threatening that they will sanction it, they will sanction that. They forgot that in 2015, a member of the opposition, Senator Ekweremadu, for a seat at the Senate, was elected deputy president of the Senate. And these same people voted for him. And they said, no, we should leave it because there is no law that says that somebody should come from this. They lobbied. I do not believe in that threat. That is democracy. They have exercised the right to vote for their speaker. We discussed this thing here the way the then aspirant to the office of president of the Senate and Gbajabiamila, the way they were campaigning, we said they were doing the right thing. That they were campaigning, they were no longer using the party platform. So if this thing happened and they agreed that they should vote for him as the Speaker of the House of Representatives, it's a good thing. I don't believe that we should take the threat as a serious affair, because I know that most of the time these same people, when they leave Lagos, Kaduna, and other state capitals for Abuja, they do not remember their party platforms. They are just trying to say, oh, we are in opposition. I don't believe in their threat. They knew what happened. They knew what they planned. They had already published that 37, for instance, at the Senate, and a number of members of House of Representatives had agreed to vote for this and that. Nothing that happened yesterday that was unexpected. I don't believe in their threat. It's part of the majesty of democracy. It is the place of the opposition to say, no, 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 we didn't like what, this is not the way we like. At the end of the day, they do some backstabbing and all those things like that. I don't believe in that. What they should be worried about is how they will be independent, how Gbajabiamila will not be a tool in the hand of the executive, how they will have legislative agenda that will make them to be the legislature, to be independent, to be independent and interdependent at the same time. They are independent of the executive and other arms of government, but in terms of development, they have legislative agenda that they will also depend on other arms to implement. They should be worried about that and not that he emerged. He has emerged. There's nothing anybody can do about that.
There's a wave of change across most states' House of Assembly, and we've seen some speakers emerging from Oyo State, some from Niger State, and, you know, young men, 32, 34, and like that. But we have an experienced hand that emerged again from Borno State, that the speaker that has been there, it was re-elected, Abdul Karim Lawan. Lawan was re-elected for the third time. Yes. What's the big deal about his re-election?
No, it's just down to his leadership qualities, his humility. He's someone who is so loved by his people. And it reminds me of the Speaker of the Taraba State House of Assembly, the young man. He's a fantastic individual and a candidate for bigger role in leadership. So he too has been elected for the third term.
The Taraba?
Yes, the Speaker of the Taraba House of Assembly. And he's young. He's young.
That's a new trend now.
Yes, he's young.
Man.
He's young because he's under 50, yet he's been Speaker now for 3 terms in Taraba.
That's 8 years removed.
And the same thing, you can say the same thing of Honorable Abdul Karim Lawan. He was a good friend of the former governor, He provided him tremendous support. They worked together. And even his own colleagues across the country, they respect Lawan. And, you know, he was once made a leader of a conference of speakers. So it's a massive vote of confidence. There was nobody who contested against him in the primaries. They on their own decided that Abdul Karim Lawan should go and contest. Nobody bought a form against him. Not that the governor said, no, nobody should contest. From his constituency, they all unanimously said, no, we will not contest against this man in the primaries. And that was the same thing that happened in the election. In the main election, in the main election, all the members of other political parties also refused to contest against him. That should tell you something about him, how strong he is in his constituency, how accepted he has become in Borno State. So it's a good omen. Yes, we like the fact that 31-year-olds, 32-year-olds are coming in. Yes, you know, when the lawmaker, the former speaker of Katsina State, Kusada, became the youngest speaker, we never knew that that trend would go on. Because Kusada was in his 20s and he became speaker. He is now in the House of Reps. Now we've had 31-year-olds, 32-year-olds also becoming speaker.
I wanted to ask you, because it's like a paradigm shift. Now, before we started the program, I was discussing with Mrs. Afolabi, and it was like, look, you know, people that ran under these smaller parties, they weren't able to make the necessary impact. But some people actually took the gauntlet, went into the mainstream party, and now they are emerging. For the not too young to rule bill, the manifestation is just on the speakers, because if you can count 5, 6, 7 from the 36 states that under 40, they are taking up the number 3 position. That means the next election, they might just want to go for the governorship, and within the mainstream political parties.
Yes, for the plum positions, they will not be able to make a headway. The bigger the position, the tougher it is to win the primaries. And the greater the money that you spend, that you need to spend to win the primaries. So, but for the smaller positions, like House of Assembly and the rest, you can see that it's not, they have godfathers. There's godfathers who also ensure that they won those primaries. But you see that it's the older people who are showing interest in those in the bigger elective positions. So the trend now is like they are leaving it more for the younger people. You can see a state like Kwara, one of the old generation states, you know, producing a 30-something-year-old speaker. And we've had about 5 or 6 cases like that. So it's a good thing. I hope that it will continue, because people like Awolowo, people like Baba Clark, in their 20s, they were already leaders of our country. You know, so it's like we're going back to that era. If Baba Clark could be a minister in his 20s, so hopefully we can return to that era, because the younger people have got the bright ideas, revolutionary ideas that can make this country better. Although there are some bad eggs among the so-called young people who are giving the young people, who are smearing the image of young people and making people think that, no, these young people have nothing to offer. But I think that in the fullness of time, we will see the more young people that come into government, we will see clearly that the younger people have a lot to offer to our country.
Mr. Afolabi, some people, they've raised question about how APC, how the positions, you know, have been distributed across geopolitical zones and in terms of spread and everything. And we don't have the minority leaders, the deputy minority leaders, but the bigger ones has been distributed, and some people are not so comfortable with the way it went.
Yes, some people are already complaining that some of the big positions have all gone to the North. Some even took an advert and complained. They listed some of the positions like the acting CJN, and other positions. They listed 3, which all went to the North. However, I think that the appointment is ongoing. Before the
I mean, this even the legislative seats, the National Assembly now.
Speaking about National Assembly.
Senate President, Deputy Senate President, Speaker, Deputy Speaker.
But in the National Assembly, Gbajabiamila is from the Southwest. He's not from the North.
The Vice President is also from the Southwest.
He's probably talking about the Southeast.
The Southeast, yes, the Southeast.
But Ekweremadu had been there for 12 years. And we also had David Mark, who was there.
Not central.
I think that was a critical mistake that they made. Because I've spoken to some senators who told me, look, while they were not prepared to vote for Mwagege, that Ekweremadu was not even someone to consider.
Yes.
So if it's like choosing between the devil and the devil.
Contest that day.
He decided to contest.
And they told me, one of the very senior senators told me, and I think I shared this with you, he said if it was Abaribe that had entered that contest, that they would have voted for him against Omagege, because it's not as if all the APC members like Omagege.
Yes. They would have voted.
You see, Rochas did not get his
Yes. He was just sworn in today.
So I think that the problem was the choice of Ekweremadu. If it was someone else, someone more charismatic, someone that people are not already tired of,
for 12
definitely
years.
They will have defeated Omagege.
Because many senators actually complained that they wouldn't have voted for Ekweremadu, that why would he still come out? Maybe as some of them voted out of protest, that we cannot vote for this man again.
That is what happened.
But they normally plan this thing, as Jide said. They didn't plan well. They should have even reached out to Abaribe, for instance, because the East will continue to complain about marginalization. Nobody is going to stop them until 2023 from complaining why they were marginalized.
No, this was not the way this happened. APC was going to present Omagege.
Yes,
the president made it clear that that's his candidate. You know, now the PDP, the attempt by the PDP to get involved happened through the wrong person.
Exactly.
And I'm saying that if it was someone else, because this is what senators are saying, that if it was an Abaribe, they respect him, he's calm.
From Abia?
Yes.
Abia.
If it was an Abaribe that contested against this Omagege, that they would have voted for him. And that senator said, let us see that the day Omagege presides, that I should come and see what will happen on the floor.
Yeah,
that many of them will stay away.
You know what happens now is that these PDP people who allowed Ekweremadu to present himself should go back, instead of complaining about the emergence of Gbajabiamila, they should also regret the fact that they did not present Abaribe.
There was no plan ab initio. You see, there was no plan ab initio to get involved. This person was just trying to be opportunistic. And it was on the morning of the thing that I decided
to... You know, the day before we analyzed it. Yes, nobody was never in the card.
Nobody mentioned his name anyway. Nobody speculated that
he was supposed to be on the ballot with Goje. Because along he was the one propping Goje. But the moment Goje dropped out, because he was supposed to be Goje's deputy. But the moment Goje dropped out of the race, he was now like fish out of water. But we didn't know that he was still trying to
plan B.
You know, but it didn't work.
He planned alone.
He thought that by saying that this man is a thug, he was the one who stole the mace, that maybe that would gel with the people. But it could have gelled with the people if it was a different candidate.
People who were not members felt that way.
Still to come. National Industrial Court orders Governor Yahya Bello to pay the judiciary 1.5 billion naira. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this time out.
Yeah, Bello.
Welcome back. Kogi State Governor Yahya Bello may be in for the battle of his political life with the governorship election in the state just 5 months away. A face-off with the judicial arm will not be desirable at all at the moment, but it is a reality he must face. Plus, there are looming political battles ahead. In the ongoing battle between Governor Bello and the state chapter of the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria, that's JUSUN, the workers have drawn the first blood. The National Industrial Court has ordered the state's government to pay 1.5 billion naira to the judiciary for the outstanding money due to it from July 2018 to March 2019. The government has 30 days to make the payment. Will he pay or not? It's left, whether he will pay or not, we'll look at it in the next 30 days. Mrs. Simba Afolabi, just give us the genesis of this. What's this case about?
The face-off started when he was after the Chief Justice, the Chief Judge, and he wanted to remove him for his personal reasons. He disrupted the power supply to his house with due, I think, his security and all that. And then the judiciary staff supported the Chief Judge. And he wanted all of them to come and show like verification before they collect their salary.
Because when you said personal reason, I wanted to say...
No, I mean personal reason on behalf of the governor, for his own personal reason. Yes. I mean, why would he now suddenly wake up and say, you guys should come and show yourselves?
They were doing it statewide.
Yes.
So
but
whether they are meant to do it with the judiciary...
Wanted to check the payroll and probe into their salaries because of ghost workers and all of that. So the judiciary said, we are not servants of the executive. We are servants of the judiciary. So we are not accountable to you. We are not subjected to you. Even the Constitution says that their employment, their discipline, welfare is under the Judicial Commission, Service Commission. So, but the governor had his own game plan. So he owed them, was not paying salary. There were no money to run the judiciary, no generator, no money to buy fuel. So they had to go to court after this tussle, back and forth, front and back. Even the House of Assembly intervened and kind of supported the governor. But this has gotten to a head now. Will he pay, will he not pay? He has to pay because this is court matter. If he doesn't pay, that's contempt of court. This 1.5 billion, he has to pay it because he has already boasted on May 12 that their money is intact. So if the money is intact, that is sitting, they said it's sitting in the bank. So now let the money that is sitting, let the money work out. The money needs to work out now. It is not sitting. It has been sitting since December. So let the money get up and work out to the hands of this staff. Because innocent people are also suffering from it.
Because that's my own perspective.
Yes, those who are not staff of the judiciary, they are also suffering, who are working for the judiciary.
Julie, do you think it's the right time for Governor Bello to, I think it's not the time to make more enemies. I think...
He knows that it's not the right time to make enemies. He's not as popular as his minders want us to believe. And the people who operate on social media, who call the governor White Lion, think they can make him smell like roses to the rest of us. The election is a leveler. If it's popular, the election will show. If you left your responsibilities and you are chasing shadows, the election will deal with you as long as the election is free and fair.
No, for now, I've not seen a strong contender for that position.
That is what you people said before Buhari election. You said there was nobody was interested. And I said the time had not come. When that time came, we saw an article. We saw an article who won some of the states that Buhari won the last time. So, you see, time is a gentleman, as I always say. When that time comes, you will see the people who contest against him. So it's too early to say nobody is there. They said it about Buhari now. Oh, have you forgotten? Yes. Even here, we were arguing with some of our colleagues. They said there's no credible candidate. Didn't people come out to contest against Buhari in the end?
Powers in politics
you know?
make some difference.
Going back to what happened, a seizure of judiciary funds coincided with the time when the chief judge granted bail to Dino Melaye. Just go back, do a tie back. It coincides. So you will know that that action that I took was political. Now, what the court had to determine was whether he had the power to hold on to what is due to the judiciary from the Consolidated Revenue Fund. Because this is an independent arm of government. I think that even when all these newly elected people, given what the governor of my former state has done, these newly elected governors and other people, they should put them in a building and then read to them the Constitution. The Constitution is written in simple English for everyone to understand. It is clear that a governor has no right to hold on to the funds of the judiciary. We said it here. Myself and Cheta, we were here, and we said it, I will lose this matter in court. And that's exactly what has happened. So they wanted the court to determine whether I had the power. And the court said, no, you do not have the power. Look at what the court said. It said, deliberate non-payment of salaries to Kogi State judiciary workers in the circumstances stated in this case amounts to inhuman or degrading treatment. This is a consequential order that the court has given. A consequential order, you cannot stay it. You can't come up with a stay of execution. Where a judge gives a consequential order, even an appeal cannot stop the execution of a consequential order. So it means that even if he's going to appeal, he must go ahead to continue to pay.
Yes, first.
That is the implication of a consequential order. So since you are saying that that money is lying somewhere inside the bank, sitting, okay, permit my use of a different word. Go to where it is sitting, rouse it up from where it is sitting, and pay these innocent people their money. And another thing, significantly, the Justice Agbakoba also ruled that the so-called show your face and let me pay you money was illegal. You know, people were saying no, and it was meant to ensure that they don't steal this and that, ensure that they identify
Can the judge actually say that in good faith?
He can say that
to eliminate ghost workers.
It is not in his place to touch the funds of judiciary workers. They have their own body. They have their own body. That is the point. Once you take a bad step, any other thing that you do
on top of it
as a consequence of that is wrong. Okay. You have no right. On the Consolidated Revenue Fund, amount of money payable to them, you must give to them. It's not. If you don't like a chief judge, you now say because you are governor. Because you are governor, are you God? You now sit on their money. Who does that? It's wrong.
What's your own perspective on this?
You know, the perspective is it's a thunder stolen by Jide. You know, it is not just about this thing, because there is no correlation between verification and failure to pay. Failure to pay, as the court has ruled, is illegal. Why would a governor, like the president himself said something significant at the time, said, ask the governors, how do you even go
to bed
without paying your workers? You know, very significant. You know,
to beg them.
To beg them. To beg governors to pay. But this particular governor, I don't know whether I should say is famous or notorious for not paying workers in the state. And now, as I always write about actions and consequences, I always write about it. This is a time of consequences for his action, time of election. You will see it is not about prominent people who will contest. It's about significant people. Significant people will come and they will give him a run for his money. All that he has been doing, failure to pay, will come. But this one now, why? He should learn some lessons from what happened in Rivers and Zamfara about disobedience to court orders, about impunity, about just arrogating to yourself the power that doesn't belong to you. It's
Judiciary Service Commission.
Yes.
One of our viewers.
Yes, he doesn't have the right to do that. You have to say Consolidated Revenue Fund. That is what they are talking about. The local government now. The NFIU is writing. It's a significant development. When they have amended the constitution in respect of the judiciary, it goes straight to them. And you can't, the governors, some of these governors believe that they just have all the powers. They don't have the powers.
They don't have all the powers.
Yeah, I talk about this majesty of democracy. Democracy is developing. There are so many gains that we have had. Look at the jurisprudential significance of what happened in Rivers and Zamfara. You know, the people are still shocked. They say,
they can't recover from
it took a long time.
How?
Martins, let me read what the judge let me read this so that our viewers can learn.
Yeah.
The judge held that it was wrong of the governor to interfere in the mode of payment of salary.
Yes.
That mode of payment is the across the table.
Show face and collect.
A mode of payment of salaries to staff of Kogi State judiciary. Collection of their salaries by hand from the executive was illegal and breaches the principle of separation of powers and is therefore unconstitutional and null and void.
Yeah. Larry is calling us from Kaduna State.
Hello.
Dari.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes. Good evening to the panelists.
Good evening.
Good evening.
You see, let me just use this word. I think Yahya Bello is a bad example of not too young to rule in this country. And it is rather unfortunate that his political party kept quiet for this long. And I equally expected the president to call him to order. My brother, I go to Lokoja, and I think Babajide do too. You see
I'll stop going.
written on the faces of, almost the whole... Let me even say the workers. People that are working for the state government, not being paid, and you are seated as a governor of a state, contented with what you have, not paying the people that are working for you. Now this brings to question, does he actually have advisors? If you have advisors in the first place, I think they should advise you against the consequences of what you are doing. You don't rule the state like a dictator. Yahya Bello is a dictator in Kogi State. And I think it is high time that well-meaning citizens of that state rise up to this occasion. And
Dari, thank you. Thank you for your contribution.
Yes. Just
One
talking
more
about
point.
executive lawlessness. And it is not, a deputy director will reported a situation where some very senior members of staff have died. Senior civil servants in the state have died. They committed suicide in Kogi State. It's not...
It's becoming...
Okay, Yahya Bello had a chance to settle this matter out of court. Even his own counsel suggested it. But he chose to still be on the war path. And look at what has resulted. When the counsel advised him not to go on with the case and settle out of court, that was the time that he decided to ask the House of Assembly to probe. He gave them 2 assignments, to probe and unravel. Not only to probe, you can probe and not unravel anything. But this one, he say, go and probe and unravel why the salaries of the judiciary staff should not be looked into. That means he was still looking for trouble, and he had gotten it with this one. He has to pay the
second case that he will lose in just about a month. The probe of the chief judge by the House.
Yes.
And the so-called suggestion of the House.
Yes.
A House that clearly does not know what it's doing. Because you have no locus at all to try to discipline a judge or even suggest that a judge should be removed.
Yes.
And the Kogi judge, Kogi State House of Assembly, the definition of ignorance, decided that a judge should go. You have no such powers.
No.
If you can report a judge, but you have no such powers. You are now making a proclamation that a judge, chief judge, should be removed. Yahya Bello lost that matter. Despite their effort to intimidate the judge, they sent thugs, and the policemen went to the judge handling the matter in Kotonkarfi and said, see, we have instructions to leave this area. So the moment the policemen left the courtroom, the judge had to quickly leave the premises.
Okay.
But in the end, they went back to the judge went back to the matter and declared that that proclamation by the assembly was illegal. So this is the second setback, judicial setback, that it is that Yabelo is sovereign in just about a month.
You should learn such lessons.
Okay, we have to move on now.
A separation
the
of powers.
armed banditry conundrum in Zamfara State requires all the supports and help that can be mustered. So it was cheering, not just for the states, to hear that the Inspector General of Police, Muhammadu Adamu, approved the immediate deployment of 2 additional mobile police squadrons to the states to fight banditry to a logical end. The deployment was at the request of Governor Bello Matawale. Did you help me out? Matawale. So who earlier met with the police chief in Abuja over the festering insecurity in the states. The 2 squadrons are to be stationed at bandit flashpoint in the states, but is not yet Uhuru. Martins, they have a peculiar problem in Zamfara State, and it is not just starting now. Governor Matawale is going to inherited. He has inherited a very, very deplorable state of security in Zamfara State, and it's a cause of national even concern.
Well, he has inherited this problem, but it's beyond the state government power to handle this thing alone. It's already a collaboration between the federal and the state government, and it coincides with the time even people are talking about this state police that has always been discussed here. Now, this one is on ground. State police cannot meet this exigency. And I think it's a step that he has taken to address an emergency in the state, this banditry in the state. They have added this one, and the federal government is interested in solving the problem in that place. I believe that they will support the governor to at least address this one. It's not about state police now. It's not about anything. We still have the federal police in place until this situation is addressed. And I think that the governor has done the right thing by collaborating with the police to the flashpoints in the state, so that they can go back to farm, so that they can face their business of making money in the state, of living where you're sleeping peacefully in the state. I think it's the right direction by the state governor.
You know, we were here yesterday when Senator Shehu Sani actually described the level of, level of sophistry of this bandits, sophistication, sorry, of this bandits. And when you look at it, some of them, they can't even distinguish their modus operandi from Boko Haram. And if they are deploying 2 squadrons of police, do you think this police or the Niger police, do you think they are as equipped as facing these bandits?
No, the problem is that the police is ill-equipped. If you provide the police with all that they need, give them APCs, give them all the equipment that they need, including the technology that will help them track these bad boys, they will be able to do a good job. We focus so much on the army, and these are things that naturally the police should be able to handle. I'm telling you, in other lands, even these Boko Haram attacks, the police should be able to handle. It is when it becomes so sophisticated that, okay, you can now get the army to get involved, because the army is supposed to be the last resort. But what we have everywhere that you have flashpoints, it is soldiers that we draft. But I'm saying that the problem largely is that we have not equipped the police sufficiently to be able to address some of these security challenges facing our country. For example, you go to even police commands, the tools that they need are not available. I was talking about the IG's response team. The technology that they have that enables them to track kidnappers and other places, and other criminals. What stops us from replicating that technology across police commands in the country. Or you even in places like Zamfara, where we know that we have a big problem. We should be able to put that technology there. But what we do is, if we have problems here, we want to find out who kidnapped someone here, then we will now apply to Abba Kyari and his people in Abuja. The Abba Kyari and his people will now come down to that area and they'll stay for some days and be looking for. No, I mean, it's wrong. By that time, those guys had left the area. State commands should have the technology that enables Abba Kyari to make the difference. It should be something that every state command has. If we do that, everyone will see clearly that technology can help us to defeat insecurity. But we are not going along that route at all. And it's not as if this technology is so expensive. And private individuals can't bring this kind of thing into the country. If they bring it in, the NSA and these people will go and arrest them. So this is the problem that we have. You can have many police stations, but if you don't equip them with all that they need, go to police stations. A lot of the vans that they have, the Isuzu and the rest of them, they are non-serviceable. They are dead. Some of them have no tires. If not for Dangote that supplied many the police with many vehicles the other day, I wonder where we will be. Every year we hear of considerable amount of money allocated to the police. But at the end of the day, even they don't get to receive this money. How can we have a situation in which a DPO will be receiving 24,000 naira as imprest in a quarter? And we tell ourselves that we are a serious country. A whole quarter, DPO collecting 24,000 as imprest. What will he do with it? Where does he start to spend it? But this is the situation. So when they cannot perform, we'll start calling the soldiers. We've seen clearly now that even with the intervention of soldiers, the Air Force, we've not been able to defeat these guys because we are not doing it right. We are not doing the right thing. That's why we have this problem. I pity the governor. He has started well. Because he went to meet the president and assured the president that he will meet with stakeholders and all that. He needs to talk to stakeholders. Traditional rulers are getting involved in kidnapping in Zamfara. That has to stop. Some of them, look at the case of one that was found, a big man in Zamfara that was found wearing a mask as a bandit. When he was unmasked, they discovered that there was a big man amongst them. So, and the governor is saying, it is very unfortunate. Fulanis were known to be peace-loving people. There was good relationship with Fulani, law-abiding Fulani are not happy with what is happening in Zamfara and other parts of the country. Some bad elements among us are found of smearing the image of the Fulanis. So that is what he's saying. So let him meet with traditional rulers and get to the root of this matter. It's not simply police efforts or army efforts that will end this problem.
Your final take, Mrs. Mba-Falabi.
Okay, the Zamfara governor has demonstrated that he is concerned with the insecurity in Zamfara and he's ready to tackle the problem by bringing in 2 squadrons. A squadron consists of 4 to 5 units, and a unit is made up of 50 to 60 policemen.
Really?
So yes, that's it. So if a squadron is, well, 2 squadrons will be like 400 mobile policemen who will now be, there will be drivers among them, there will be cooks, and there will be mechanics, and you provide a place for them to stay. But because police are generally ill-equipped, ill-trained, underfunded, they don't even have the equipment, they need help. You cannot bring this squadron and just keep them there without the right equipment.
So the governor can motivate them.
The governor can buy, he can. When you even have more pole in your house as a private citizen, you pay them. Yeah. You pay them, apart from their own salaries, you feed them
allowances
every day. You feed them every day and still give them allowances. So he has taken an enormous task upon himself, and I hope that he's equal to the task. Because bringing Mopo there and letting them go hungry or they are not well taken care of in terms of welfare, we don't join the bandits.
They need enough vehicles and all that to move around.
They will just join, or the bandits will join them.
I think the critical point in this discussion is funding. Because you can have skill, and if you are ill-equipped, you cannot do anything. There won't be efficiency, there won't be achievement. I think the key thing that the people who are assembling the squadrons should note is funding of this place. Because when all these police officers go abroad for peacekeeping operations, they always get accolades.
They get everything that they need.
They get everything that they need to perform well. They get accolades, they say we welcome them. But when they get here, I even quarreled with some today. And I said, look, you shouldn't be working today by the airport today. Yes, because of the way I usually have discussion with them. They will always say, my brother, and so we see them.
They buy their own uniform.
Yeah, they buy uniform, they buy
the policemen that they sent to,
yes.
The policemen that they sent to Buniyadi,
yes,
to join the strike force in Buniyadi. If you see their uniform, very beautiful uniform. When I inquire for that, they say we bought it by ourselves. Today, from the rank of cadet up to IG, people buy uniform by themselves.
Yes,
they do.
And this is
and their
unfortunate.
And their
should not be their responsibility.
From one star.
That is why they
You
always
buy
resort
uniform
to,
right up to IG.
That is why they always resort to self-help.
Police.
Self-help, they help themselves.
So is that a sensible thing to be happening?
I want to thank you. Martin Zoloja, thank you.
Thank you.
I want to thank you. Janet Mba Afolabi, thank you so much. And Babajide Kolade Otoju. And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on our platforms showing on the screen. We're also on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. See you next week, and God bless Nigeria.